Take under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. At this time, we'll have some special presentations. Will be a recognition of new corporals, Amanda Bragg, Jeffrey Doctor, and Rodney Reynolds. I guess that'll be given by Police Chief Williams.
That is correct, sir.
Great.
Mayor and Council, I just wanted to take a few moments and introduce our new corporals. So we've had some corporal vacancies for quite a while due to a lot of turnover. We had a competitive promotional process, and we filled the 3 vacancies we had. So when I call you, I'll come up here. Amanda Bragg has been with JPD and the city employee for 11 years. Jeff Doctor, he's been with us for 12 years. And Rodney Reynolds has been with us for 5. Our corporals are our first line supervisors out of patrols. They're our first line supervisors that help the sergeants out, and they're the officer in charge on the shift. Very proud of them. We're going to give them some additional leadership management supervision training, and this is his first step of many for them. They're very talented. Obviously, the tenure is helpful, especially since we got a whole bunch of brand new ones back there that don't really use self-police so far. So we're very proud of them, very happy for them. So let's get the pictures. Larry, you want to?
Yeah, if you want me to. Sure. I'm smiling. Good deal. Oh. You bet. Okay.
So the other thing that I wanted to bring to y'all's attention is we just graduated a class of the Citizens Police Academy's first one since I've been here. We started with 24 in the class. We lost a couple of high school kids due to their commitments to their additional jobs. We ended up graduating. We dropped 2, then we added 1 halfway through. We ended up graduating 22. And of them, as I call your name, please come on. We have Derek Andrew, John Atkinson, Joanne Embleton, Charlie Esco, Carlos Franz, Juan Garcia, Jim Hamlet, Chris Henderson, Miss Peggy Renfro, Patty Rivers, Dylan Rodriguez, and Sammy Samantha Sandoval. Did I forget anybody? Dwayne showed up. Oh, good. You're on vacation.
He's on the agenda.
So anyway, we're very proud of them. The class was 8 weeks long. We did everything from driving police cars real fast, burning tires up, shooting guns, tasers, work some crime scenes. What we're hoping to do is build up not only our alumni group, which is the next step if they want to join that, but also if y'all have seen our Citizens on Patrol vehicle, right now it's being driven by about 2 or 3 people. And over the last 6 weeks, they're primarily responsible for 5 felony arrests and a lot of dope off our streets just by driving around and reporting things. So we're hoping to build on that pool, hoping to do some more of these classes, get more people energized and wanting to come out and help the police department. This has been very beneficial for me as a new police chief, and I hope is beneficial to them. Is that right there? All right.
Thank you, Chief.
Good. Yeah, well, I heard it. Good.
I graduated Police Academy, Citizens Police Academy back in like 91.
All right. Item number 5 is our citizens participation. Did anybody sign up, Greg? Okay. Nobody signed up for citizens participation. Number 6 is a public hearing We will hear and receive information for a special use permit at 217 South Main to allow for a mobile home park. So at this time, I will open up.
Food park.
What did I say? Oh, mobile food park. Sorry about that. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. So at this time, I will open that public hearing up. If anybody wants to speak in favor of or against, if you'll come to the podium, give your name, your address, and then try to limit your comments to about 3 minutes, please.
Hello, my name is, I don't know who to phase. My name is Daniel. I purchased what used to be Charcoal Alley. I just have in mind to do what the previous lady was doing there, create something where people in the community can get together, come and eat, have some entertainment out there, have a place to sit, place to have a good time on the weekends, during the week. I think it'll be something good. We have a lot of ideas that we got in mind, and with the help of y'all and especially Jaco, I think we can get this project that we want running. So that's pretty much all I have to say, really.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
You bet. Anybody else would like to speak? Okay, come on up. Hi.
I'm Mahim Torres, owner of Taqueria Torres. My brother purchased a lot, and we're hoping to move over there with him and hopefully start up a good place for the community, for everyone to come downtown and enjoy it all, sit down and have a good, nice place to stay.
Great.
Yes.
Okay. Super.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else while we have our public hearing open, for or against? Okay. Well, then I will close that portion of the public hearing and we'll go to the next item, which is to discuss and consider with possible action an ordinance allowing a special use permit at 217 South Main to allow for a mobile food park. And I have a couple of questions that I'd like to ask whenever you deem it appropriate, Mr. Gray.
Okay, so council, members of the audience, this is our second public hearing for this. The first public hearing was held today at noon, and Planning and Zoning did recommend the approval of the ordinance allowing a mobile food park at 217 South Main. Mayor, I'll ask your questions and then we can go from there.
Yeah. Well, I read the ordinance, and I'm totally in favor of it, but I'd like to see something in it that would only allow food trucks. Because sometimes you see these food trucks up and down South Jackson, and there may be a guy parked right next to them selling blankets or Confederate flags or that kind of stuff, and I don't know. Is this written that would keep that out of there, Brett?
No, it's not written that
Really
it
not.
would keep it out. So we certainly, council, you can make that as a motion, as a requirement for the ordinance, and then Mr. Brewer and
Okay.
staff
Could
can
wrap
write
that
that
in
in
there.
there before it is executed.
And I'm not suggesting Mr. Torres would do that, but I see other ones, and we wanted a food, to me, a food park only, and then, and I'm not sure. I know there's some sort of a portable building out there with him, and there's restrooms there, and I'm not sure we need any portable buildings down there either. So that might or might not be moved in. I don't know.
Yeah, so again, if council wants to add ancillary buildings cannot be placed or constructed, that certainly can be added as well.
That was just my thoughts on the
Yeah.
I don't
park.
think you want to add that in there though, like ancillary buildings and that, because, I know one of the things that, future circumstances, should they decide to put in a bar or serve alcohol, sell alcohol there, I think that if you wrote in the ancillary building kind of a thing, we may block them in just a little bit.
I
With
think
that. But from a food truck standpoint, I don't have any problem.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
I don't have any problem limiting it to
Food truck
truck.
only.
I think the ancillary building is specifically addressing portable buildings that do get put on property. And if it's not addressed in the ordinance, with what the city is undertaking starting
So
in
an ancillary
January.
building, okay.
I think that's the legal definition of a storage building or a portable building is an ancillary building underneath our codes, and that's why they would certainly be able to build a
Okay.
true building
Okay.
and add a bar or something like that. That would go through. This is the ancillary storage buildings that you see that come up, and probably the biggest one that we had concerns and questions about was at the mattress store that is now the ER clinic. All of a sudden, one day, there was a large storage building that got placed in there. So if that is strictly up to the council, if you want to not allow those, you certainly can write that in there. And again, if they want to come back and ask for permission to do it at a later date, the council can modify the ordinance at that time without any issue whatsoever. But that would be the most protective of keeping those two issues, concerns, questions at this time. And the last time we did an SUP for this, we actually did similar things at the dais with the council dealing with a bed and breakfast, excuse me.
Sure. Well, you know, we got, the Jedco's hired that zoning guy that's gonna come back in January and give us some recommendations. I would hate, and we wouldn't be undermining him on purpose, but I would hate to say, yeah, we can do that, and then he comes in and says, here's my recommendation, and maybe you should have written that in there. Not just to protect us down the road. That's the only reason I would mention it.
I mean, one other question maybe for the Torres family, you know, they operate that food truck right this minute on Fort Worth Street. I mean, what's the base of operations going to be? I mean, are you all going to, I mean,
On Fort Worth Street is where we work.
right.
Sir, can you come up to
Yeah,
the,
just
so we can
hear.
catch it, because we're on video and we want
Yeah.
everybody to be able to hear you.
Yeah, yeah.
On Fort Worth Street is where my parents live and is where
Yeah.
we park the truck at night.
I see.
And the portable building that's there now, we don't have any plans on taking it. That's just for the restroom purposes
I
to
see.
pass the city ordinance.
But
And there's bathrooms there already.
Yes,
So
exactly.
we wouldn't need.
You would need to
We
move
want,
it.
we want to
But from,
put,
but from
new
your,
structural, I'm sorry?
but from your operational standpoint, though,
Yes, sir.
I mean, just this is just for you all to provide us information. I mean, are you going to keep, you know, at your parents' house, and I mean that'd be
Oh,
the basic.
to park at
I mean,
night?
to park it, because you know, obviously, I'm the next door neighbor.
Yes, sir.
There is zero issues in the neighborhood,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, to park at night, yeah, we want to take it home at night,
Okay.
just for security
Okay.
reasons.
because I mean, one of the things that we're talking about doing, you know, I know you all store everything, you know, your styrofoam, your
Yes, sir.
stuff like that, and I know that you store that
Yes, sir.
at Fort Worth Street, and what, you know, one of the things that we're talking about up here would sort of limit that.
Oh, yeah,
If
that would
you-
limit that because
if you-
I could build maybe storage, something there.
Right.
Where I can keep all of that. That'd
Right.
be-
I just
that'd
didn't
be
want us
for
to, I didn't want to see us do anything like that that would harm
Yeah,
or cost more money kind of a deal.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if it's okay to build there, a structure there, or.
I mean, that would just, yeah, that would be you and the building and,
Yeah.
I mean, coming back in for those.
Yeah, but ancillary structure is defined as these buildings that are not, could not be permanently built. He's talking about adding a true brick and mortar building
right,
that's
right.
storage. That is not the same as an ancillary structure that comes in on skids and that is set there. So I think that was the
Yeah,
the
that was
point.
my intent.
And
Okay.
I think that's something that the downtown merchants as well
Right, right.
would
Would
like
frown
to
upon, yeah.
frown upon, and that's part of the program that we're undertaking, excuse me. The program we're undertaking in January with partnering with Jedco in that meeting is to address several of these ordinance dealing with the downtown as well as the main corridor on Highway 69 to try to continue to improve the community with some
Right.
new potential standards. Nothing has been decided yet, but I do think that would probably be wise. And again, if the Torres family wants to come back and ask for an exception to this ordinance, they can come back, present that, and it could be handled at that time without any problem.
And I'm all for it. I just wouldn't want somebody to come in there and put up
Oh, no, sir, we don't.
you know, that kind of thing, sell
We
flags
would
and
like to invite
banners.
other trucks over and,
Yeah.
you know, do the
Yeah.
same. you
And then
know,
that way
what she
that'll
did.
protect you, because if they ask you, hey, we're gonna put up a display of stuff,
Oh, no.
blankets and stuff, you can say, you can blame it on us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we
I got enough blankets at the house. Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you for your time.
Sure. So, I mean, I'd entertain a motion if you want to add some of that language in here. I think that'd be appropriate.
Mayor and council, I'll make a motion that we approve the ordinance allowing the special use permit at 217 South Main with the following amendments to it. If it's wording, we may need the attorney to word it correctly, but only food vending sales allowed and no ancillary portable buildings allowed.
Hear that motion?
I'll second.
We got a second by Councilman Hubert Robinson. Any other discussion?
Modify it as well to include 215, 217, and 219 South Main. I think that's what's in the.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, 215, 17.
I'm
19.
fine
Yeah,
with
okay.
amending my motion as attorney advised.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Do I pick this up now?
Yes.
Okay. We had during the citizens' participation, we had one that came in, Justin Chambliss, so we'll sneak you in right quick. If you'll come, give your name, limit your comments to about 3 minutes. This is a part of the meeting. We can listen. We can't really enter into a dialogue, but we just want to hear what you're thinking, and then we'll take it under advisement and do something with it. So.
Sure. I own a lake lot on Lake Jacksonville on County Road 3107, and the way the lot is set up, there's just not a whole lot of area to build an extra building for storage or a place to park boat trailers, jet ski trailers, or any kind of storage. Mm-hmm. And the city owns a piece of property pretty close, not across the road, but just down the road, that's not being used for anything. I have some maps here I can bring up, and
Okay.
I have a few.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
It kind of shows where the lake property is and where the extra city property is, and I'm interested in purchasing that property if at all possible, and
Need one more?
No, we're good.
Oh, Tim did good.
Sorry.
I don't know the exact acreage amount, but based on the size, I'm estimating it's probably about 4 acres.
Okay.
And it seems to be pretty flat, not exactly completely flat, but flat enough where I could park stuff and maybe build a building to, house some extra things.
Okay, that's that, never mind.
No, we can't.
Okay. We appreciate you bringing this to our attention. You bet.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll get in touch with
Yeah,
you
we'll be
and
in
let you know
Yeah.
where we're at.
Okay, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Justin. Okay, our next item is our consent agenda. Items under consent agenda require little or no deliberations by the council. So you see, it's got one, right? Yeah, just to approve the minutes, item A. So I'll entertain a motion to approve our consent agenda.
I'll make the motion, we approve a consent agenda.
Motion made by Councilman Rob Goen,
Second.
second by Councilman Tim McRae. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Item number 9 is to discuss and consider with possible action an ordinance requiring the use of Republic Services for construction dumpsters. Mr. Gregg, if you'll talk to us about that.
Yes, sir. In front of you is the latest and greatest version of this dumpster. We talked about it during our workshop last month. What this does is clean up some confusion between our 2 franchise agreements with Republic. We have a franchise agreement for all commercial dumpsters as well as a franchise agreement for residential dumpsters. They had some conflicting language in those 2, and this just clears it up that all construction debris dumpsters or any dumpster in the city has to be Republic Services as originally attended by both of the franchise agreements. And under this is a health and safety, so citations can be written, but this also has a clause that we can suspend their permit until they become in compliance, and that is probably the most reasonable way that we will handle this. This has been an ongoing issue for several of these individuals because they hire contractors from outside and stuff like that. So we've probably had 3 or 5 of these in the last 30 to 45 days that have come to our attention. And so I think this is just the best way to clean this up and meet the intent of both of the franchise agreements.
Okay. So we've heard that discussion, so I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve an ordinance requiring the use of Republic services for construction dumpsters.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Rob Goen. Second by Councilman Hubert Robinson. Any other discussion we need to have? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Item number 10 is to discuss and consider with possible action an ordinance approving COLA, which is cost of living adjustment rate change to sanitation rates per Republic Services contract.
Yes, Council. So this is the annual rate increase that Republic Services contract has with the city for residential. It equates to 37 cents per residential unit. So that is roughly $1,800 a month, but each residential unit is 37 cents. And so this is just formalizing the rate increase if council wants to pass along the rate increase.
Okay. Very good. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion by Councilman Tim McRae to approve their rate increase.
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Rob Goen. Any discussion? And I assume if this is contractual, so they're going to go up 37 cents. We're just going to pass that on to our customers, right?
That is correct, sir.
No markup, no
No,
just-
sir.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Item number 11 is to discuss and consider with possible action approving an ordinance modifying sewer ordinance per TCEQ requirements.
Yes, Council, this ordinance has been requested to be updated by Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. So you see the revisions in there. This is a requirement from the state for us to update and modify this ordinance.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion. Okay. We have a motion by Councilman Hubert Robinson.
Second.
Second by Councilman Tim McRae. Any discussion? It looks just like it's just, we probably have to, since it's from
Kinda
the
do.
TCEQ.
Yes, sir, this is just a ministerial act on behalf of the council.
Gotcha,
So
okay. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Item number 12 is to discuss and consider with possible action approving a contract for grant management services with Trailer and Associates for the Texas Cdbg Downtown Sidewalk Grant Project.
Yes, Council, this is the next action to get the downtown sidewalk project moving forward. This is actually approving Trailer and Associates as our grant manager. We did go out for RFP for this process, and Trailer and Associates was selected. They have done our grant work for us in the past. And as just a general reminder, this is a CBDG funded project, and Jacksonville Economic Development Corporation is paying the match for this grant. So it has no budgetary impact to the city.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we approve the contract for the management services with Trailer and Associates.
Okay. We have a motion by Councilman Rob Goen. Second by Councilwoman Mindy Gaylock.
Gaylock.
Gaylock. Gaylock.
Gaylock.
I've got it written down, Mindy Gaylock. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion passes. And, I'm getting better. I'll get there eventually.
None of us are used to working without Jeff being here, and Mindy's not down there first on everything this time.
Gale lock. Item number 13, discuss and consider with possible action new agreements with Afton Grove Water Co-op, a water supply agreement, and then a capacity commitment agreement.
Okay, council, this is going to take just a little bit to go through these, but I do want to go over them individually, and then you can make a motion to approve both of them at the same time.
Okay.
As council recalls, last fall, we entered into a one-year temporary agreement to continue the current contract that we had with Afton Grove Water Supply Corporation. It was a 1 year with an additional year for an extension as long as we were all working in good faith. So over that time, in that year, we have come up with these two agreements. So the first agreement is the water supply agreement, and this agreement is dealing with selling them the actual water. It is the actual wet, physical water that we sell them. And what this basically does is it deals with how we sell them the water, how it is metered, where it is metered, and all of that. This agreement is for 15 years and has an automatic 5-year renewal unless one of the two parties cancels it. They can cancel this agreement with 12 months' notice. We can cancel this agreement with 24 months' notice. And so the reason for giving them 24 months from our standpoint is if we would ever determine that we do not want to sell them water anymore for whatever the reason, we would then give them enough time to find or create an additional water source that they would need. There is no intention, no plan to cancel the agreement on either party, but all good contracts have a termination clause for both parties. The rates are the exact same rates that we have sold them water for an additional 1 year. So I believe this will be year number 3 or 4 without a rate increase to this water co-op. There is a scale of rates. They have actually filled in the amount of gallons that they would like. So this contract will sell them between 50,000 gallons a day and 300,000 gallons a day for $2.75 per 1,000 gallons. Then from 300 to 375 goes to $3.75, 375 to 500,000 is 475, and anything over 500,000 in 1 gallon is at $6.75. The minimum bill is $145. So if they do not take a drop of water, their bill is only $145. But then they get charged for the extra water. This again is that $275, we took their lowest amount and their highest amount. They added some water to give them a buffer, so there is no rate increase. This contract can be evaluated on an annual basis for rate increases on the water. But again, council, I think as we all know and we've talked about in the past, our water system is doing pretty good and we do not have a need to have a rate increase right now. So I think we are in good shape in doing that. So that takes care of the wet water,
Greg,
or the
can I ask
actual
you
water.
a quick question on Exhibit A?
Absolutely.
It's a typo, but
It is a
has
typo.
3 million
Yep.
gallons a
It's
day. It said
300,000.
300,000. Would that be, is that something that
I
we
will-
can just,
Yes.
Simply
I'm going to
correct.
address that in the motion.
okay, all right.
But yes.
Sorry.
No, I'm glad you put this out.
Yeah.
All right, in this contract, there is a part in this contract that talks about a capacity commitment agreement. And so now we will talk about the capacity commitment agreement. The capacity commitment agreement is the agreement that the TCEQ requires all water suppliers to have, and that is the capacity of water that you have available to sell your customers. It is a very detailed calculation, and I don't want to get into the fine details, but Afton Grove has requested 500,000 gallons a day capacity agreement for their water system. That is what they've had for many, many, many years, going back into the 60s. what we have done with the capacity agreement is we have taken all of the water co-ops and hired our water engineer, KSA, to come up with a plan if the water co-ops put a demand on the city for all the water that we have to sell them under this capacity agreement, what that would cost us, to where that cost for that capacity is independent from the cost of the capacity for our residents. And that amount is estimated to be $7,611,600. So we took that $7 million and divided it by the number of connections in each one of the water co-ops. And so we are currently right at $9 and some odd change per connection for the water co-ops to have this capacity ability from the city of Jacksonville. And so they have to pay that to us on an annual basis, and that just protects the city if we do have a commitment that we need to meet from the water co-ops and they want 500,000 gallons a day from us, that we can provide that. We had our engineers go back and look at the capacity, and if you take in all of the water co-ops, they are 16% of our total water commitments. And so if they pulled all of the water that we have to commit to, we would be potentially in a situation where we would not have enough water or enough capacity to meet the TCEQ requirements or provide water to our residents. And so what this does is put this fund available to us for future expansions of our water system needed. These monies will be kept in a separate fund and can only be used for water system improvements related to the delivery of capacity of water. They cannot be used for our normal maintenance and operation. They cannot be used to replace a water line or anything like that. This agreement runs the same 15 years, but this agreement can only be evaluated for rate increases on an every 5-year basis. Again, we have to give them 24 months notice. They have to give us 12 months notice. So any one of these water co-ops, and this is the first one of 4 that we will have to address, any one of these co-ops has the ability to go drill their own water wells or get their capacity they need under any normal circumstance that a water co-op would do, which primarily in this area is wells. So that was the intention of this, to give them as much flexibility, but keep the city being whole if we do get a demand on the water capacity that they have reserved. As council recalls, last year, and up till this new agreement, the co-ops were not paying anything for that capacity agreement. That was 100% of the burden was on the city for providing that capacity, and that's why we are changing this, is because we were putting ourselves at a liability. One other thing to note in this is we can take out debt service if we need to drill the wells before we have the cash in the bank, and we have to give them 13 months notice of any time we are willing to take out debt or need to take out debt. That gives them a month to determine whether they want to continue with us or they want to do their own thing. And that is to give them a chance to get out before they hit the debt service. So as soon as we take out the debt, they have to pay their pro rata share of that debt until it is paid off. So if in year 7 we go borrow $2 million, and in year 10, one of these water co-ops says we're out on our own, they're still going to have to pay their pro rata share of that $2 million. And that is already in state law, dealing with emergency service districts specifically, and that's how we mirrored that language to give them the ability not to have to do it. But if they do elect to get out of it, then they will have to pay their pro rata share of that debt. That is basically the nuts and the bolts of this agreement. Afton Grove had a special meeting last week, I believe, and has approved this in theory from their board, waiting council's approval. So when we make the motion, what I would request is that the city manager and our attorneys can make minor changes to this agreement if there is like that typographical error or one of the dates or something is minor, just because there could be a small change that we need to make, and I don't want to be changing agreements that the council hasn't seen, but it'll be nothing of significance. Does council have any questions?
Greg, just for clarification, if the city elected to go out for debt to go ahead and satisfy, our water requirements, we would give the co-op 13 months notice, which they have to give us 12 months notice that they're deciding to leave us. If they do so, they don't share any of the debt at that point, right? If they elect to leave and they let us know 12 months in advance, then they would never be responsible for any of the debt. Is that correct?
That is correct. As soon as they terminate this agreement, they will be paying no more funds to the city for the capacity. All the funds that they've previously paid are our funds to use because it was used during the time that they did not cancel this agreement.
Okay, so the annual payment, just under $60,000 from the Afton Grove.
Right.
I mean, they're making that regardless?
Well, they have the ability to do what they want to do as their business plan. We are not mandating how they do that. So I think their intention is to go up on the base bill, is my understanding.
But regardless of anything else, that money's coming into the city.
That is correct.
And we'll put that money into
A
an appropriate fund.
Separate fund that we will have they will have access to see any of the records. Any use of that fund will have to come back through the city council. It is truly a very protected fund, strictly for the new facility
Only
costs
for-
needed.
Exactly.
And I may not word this right, Greg, but those funds coming in are the same funds that would help satisfy debt as well. It's not like we're going up additional money. If we
correct.
take on debt, they would just continue to pay their pro rata share that is going into the fund, or will be going into the fund.
That is correct. And so in the event that, let's say, halfway through this at year 7, 2 of the co-ops have found their own way to make the commitment, and at that point in time, we determine that we only need to spend $1.5 million for a new well, we can pay cash for $1.5 million if that's what we have in the account, and we will not take out any additional debt service. We certainly do not want to take out additional debt service, but we do have the ability to if we need to.
And the cost of a new well being the $1 million range?
Oh, way more than that. You're probably looking at, so this was 2 wells at $7.6 million. So you're looking at $2.5 to $3 million wells
And
for
so
these.
for $60,000 a year, they have security.
It's
Right.
as-
It's an insurance policy.
yeah, Tim has called it an
Fine,
insurance
but,
policy during these meetings, but that is
I mean-
absolutely correct.
Somebody's going to have to drill a well eventually.
Correct.
They don't want to do it.
Well,
I mean,
and you say they don't want to do it.
They could.
they could. Yes,
chose
they
to.
could, but if I were them, I wouldn't want to.
You know,
Yeah,
if
so
we all share in the cost of it, it's better for everybody.
Sure.
that is correct.
And that
so-
was the whole point of us getting into this conversation, was that, from the citizens of Jacksonville revenue and, my sales tax money, or my property tax money, my money here that goes into the city budget, we were going to end up, in our minds, spending $3 to $5 million to make water available to everybody else, where, this way we have all, as a collective community, bought
Sharing.
into it. Yeah.
Sure. And the capacity requirement is not a requirement we put on them, it's the state of Texas puts on
Exactly.
them.
Yeah,
And they can't satisfy that, so they buy kind of an insurance policy from us.
Yeah.
They could
To satisfy.
actually
They could-
just agree to the water supply agreement and not
do
the
this.
capacity commitment agreement.
Absolutely.
And we would be fine with that, but they might not be fine with the state of Texas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And Gum Creek has a capacity requirement here. Are we at the point of them
They're
signing
looking
on?
at it now.
Yes,
Okay.
so we have met with Afton Grove first, and that was based
Right.
off of who we dealt with first from the beginning.
Right.
Afton Grove was ready to meet with us. We met with them the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. They've already had their board meeting. They have blessed this as it's written right now. And we met with Gum Creek Tuesday.
Yesterday.
Monday, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Met with them Monday. They know where it is, and so we will do this. The other two that are listed, which is Craft Turney and North Cherokee, they are in two different situations, and we will deal with those on an individual basis. North Cherokee, I think their contract expires in 3 or 4 years. We are going to offer this contract to them and try to encourage them to go ahead and do this. If we wait 3 years, then we will rerun the numbers in 3 years or 4 years, and that 7.6 could be 9.2. That 7.6 could be a different number, and they would burden the higher cost. The two that have already agreed to it, they will not burden a higher cost ever than what this is, unless there's a huge increase at year 5. So this is locking Afton Grove into this, and it may actually go down. It will not go up on that capacity agreement.
Right.
The other ones that we may look at is we may have to look at a rate increase for those other two if they do not want to look at this. Craft Turney, I think, still has another 16 to 20 years under their current water contract. So that's one of the concerns that staff had when we started looking at this, is we had two that were expired, one that was 4 years, and one that had like 18 years left. So we will work with North Cherokee and Craft Turney to work through this over the next year. But these two, being Afton Grove and Gum Creek, are the ones that have the largest urgency for this issue. And that is because their contract actually expired 24 months ago. And that's why we gave them a 1-year extension with a 1 year, as long as we're working in good faith to come up with an agreement.
Whew, that's complex.
It is complex. This has been 2 years of work.
Yeah.
A lot of engineers, a lot of meetings, a lot of water expert attorneys helping us with this, and we think we finally have something in place. So again, if council would like to, when you make the motion, if you'll authorize myself and our attorneys to make minor changes to this agreement that do not, Brett, help me with the right terms, substantially change or change the terms of the contract?
That works.
Immaterial.
Immaterial.
Material change.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the
Even
motion
better.
that we approve both the water supply agreement and the capacity commitment agreement with Afton Grove Water Supply Corporation, is that what they are? With the provision that the city manager and the city attorney may make minor changes that are, what was the proper term we wanted to use? Immaterial to the agreement, without having to bring it back to council for approval.
Okay. We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second by Councilman Rob Goen. The motion was by Councilman Tim McRae. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Number 14 is to discuss and consider with possible action approving a plat of a new subdivision, JRT North Edition, located on the east side of Alberta Street between Sim Street and Stage Stores.
Okay.
Number 14.
Council, this is, was addressed today at lunch with the Planning and Zoning Commission. Planning and Zoning Commission made approval, recommendation unanimous to recommend approval for this. This is on the north side of town, and it is taking one piece of property and breaking it into 8 smaller lots. Does council have any questions?
Is this zoned residential, or what can they put in there? Anything they want to?
No, they will have to meet zoning. This is just a
Okay.
plat. Zoning
Okay.
is not addressed during platting.
Gotcha.
This is just a separation of the lots. So they would still have to meet all the zoning requirements for the one lot now being 8 lots.
Let's see. Okay. I'll entertain a motion, and then we can discuss.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, make a motion from Councilman Rob Goen, second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Tim McRae. Now, any other discussion?
Now, Alberta, how far, I know where Stage is. But I'm with you, but because if Stage is there, and we're the east side of Alberta,
Alberta runs behind Stage, right?
it does, yeah.
The front of it. Mr. Randall Chandler, looks like he's gonna help us out here.
It's gonna be north of Sims Street on the east side of the road up to Stage Stores. Sims is.
Okay, so Stage Bells Boulevard,
Come due south from there. There's an undeveloped tract where
Greg,
the
isn't
timber
it the Lincoln
starts.
Park edition?
You come south of Stage, there's a power line right
Almost
away.
adjacent to
And a
it.
tract of timber starts, it extends all the way south to Sims Street that goes
because that's a
east.
pretty big tract of land.
Yes.
I'm at 10, 20, 30, 40, almost 100 acres kind of a
50
deal?
acres, I think, 50
Yeah.
acres, I think.
So it's
Yeah.
directly south of the Stage.
Correct,
where,
and east
yeah,
of
Those are
Alberta.
pretty big tracks, Rob, when you look at it.
They are.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right. No other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Item number 15 is to discuss and consider with possible action a resolution suspending term limits on all boards and commissions for 6 months.
Council, as you recall, we did this last year for 12 months, and then COVID hit. And so we have not really had the ability to work on redoing bylaws and everything with the boards and commissions. A lot of the boards and commissions have not met for 6 to 9 months. Only a couple of them have started meeting in the last 2 or 3 months. So we're just wanting a little bit more time to address everything with these boards. And this just allows us more time without having to replace board members due to a term limit.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion on that one.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion from Councilman Rob Goen. I'll hear a second. Second from Councilman Hubert Robinson. Any other discussion or questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Item number 16 is to discuss and consider with possible action appointments to the Charter Review Committee.
Okay, Council, before we get into the actual appointments, we did have some clarification that Brett provided us after last Thursday's workshop. Charter reviews can only happen no more than every 2 years. So as we undertake this, it would be my recommendation that we try not to push something through for this May, give the committee a longer time to work, and then we target May of 2022 instead of May of 2021. We talked about trying to do one in May to clean up some of the smaller issues that were pretty straightforward. With this 2-year state requirement, I would now change that recommendation and say we shoot for a 2022 charter, so that would give them about 15, 16 months to work through all the issues instead of pushing them. From there, at your station, you have the newest list. Financial is Matt Montgomery. Attorney is Dwight Pfeiffer. Business owner is Anthony Williams. Community member is Charles Vendotti. The second community member,
Hallie Peoples.
Mayoral is John Mark Lester. District 1 is Latitia Horace. District 2 is Helen Keller. District 3 is Robert Haberly. And District 4 is Ophelia Penn. So, Council, you can make a motion to approve all 10 of these, or we can do it in any way you want.
Okay. So
I'll make a motion to approve all 10 of them.
Okay. I've got a motion from Councilman Tim McRae to approve the Charter Committee as presented, and a second by Councilman Hubert Robinson. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. The next item is open forum for mayor and council. Anybody have anything they want to talk about or discuss? I'll read this. I think this would be appropriate. The family of Bo Lowe gratefully acknowledges your kind expression of sympathy. Thank you so much for your thoughts and prayers and the flowers in memory of Bo. We are so thankful to be surrounded by such love and kindness. Words cannot express the gratitude felt by everyone in our family. I am especially thankful that Greg Lowe was able to be here when he was so needed. We all thank you again. Charlene Lowe, Greg and Kelly Lowe, Brian and Laura Kivel, and our grandsons. So, you bet. Anybody have something? No?
Nothing
All right.
pressing.
City manager's report?
I have a couple. Just a reminder that the Christmas parade is Thursday night. Be downtown like it always is, so we're excited about that. Just for clarification, there will be no vendor permits issued at all during this parade, so there will be nobody going up to you, passing out candy or getting in that or allowing people to sell things. So that is probably the only change from last year, and the chamber is aware of it, and they support that fully. The next thing is next week, city staff, our police department, public community services, and fire department have made special arrangements with Santa Claus to be in town. So Santa Claus will be driving by all the houses in Jacksonville. It will be set up by council districts. So Monday will be District 1, Tuesday will be District 2, District 3 on Wednesday, and District 4 will be on Thursday. So we will get all the final maps and schedules out. I know the police department has been working diligently on getting the maps and the routes taken care of. Our public and community services has built a great sleigh for Santa to be in, and then our police and firefighters are going to be escorting Santa as well. So unfortunately, if the weather turns bad on one of these nights, Santa Claus will not have enough time between now and Christmas to come and reschedule that visit. So if we do get rained out one night, unfortunately, Santa Claus will not have time with all of his busy schedule to come back. So there'll be more information on that next week. And then just a reminder to the council that our employee appreciation is next Thursday at lunch. And we certainly will be excited to give out our service award and our employee of the year and some other special recognitions to our employees during this fantastic 2020.
Exactly. Yes. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Now, do we need to make a motion on Santa's contract with the city, or you got that all?
I don't need a contract with Santa. Santa has been more than willing to come help us.
Good.
You
Okay.
haven't seen the bill yet.
Yes, it will probably be in the evening. We're trying to finalize that. We're going to try to start somewhere about 6 in each district so we can get there and kids can see them before it's bedtime.
I think that I don't know who came up with the idea, but I think it was born with some people with the COVID may not participate in the parade or come down there, but their kids probably would still love to see Santa. And so that's kind of where all this came about. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we will, at 6:54, we will go into closed executive session, City Hall Conference Room per Open Meetings Act per Texas Government Code Section 551.071 to consult with our city attorney, and 551.072 real property, and we will convene to open session after we complete that for any action if necessary. So this is 6:54.